No country can lay claim to military superpower status without asserting its dominance over the seas. This undeniable fact highlights the critical importance of naval forces in a nation's overall military strength. For centuries, warships have served as the backbone of maritime military capability, constantly evolving alongside advancements in science and technology. As a result, a diverse array of designs and classifications has emerged, each tailored to specific missions. To appreciate the role of each type within a modern naval fleet, it's essential to understand their unique characteristics and capabilities. So, join me as we delve into the fascinating world of warships, exploring their types, features, and functions. Aircraft carrier, the crown jewel of naval power. Let's start with the aircraft carrier, a vessel so iconic that its mere presence in a navy speaks volumes about its strength. Despite the limited number of aircraft carriers in operation worldwide, owning even one can be a formidable statement of military prowess. As the name suggests, an aircraft carrier is designed to store, launch, recover, and maintain aircraft at sea. The concept took shape during World War I with the British HMS Argus, although it didn't see action until later. The Americans and Japanese soon followed suit, producing their own aircraft carriers, including the USS Langley and Hosho. These floating air bases truly proved their mettle in World War II, where they became pivotal players in major naval battles across the Pacific theater, such as Midway and Coral Sea. Aircraft carriers are remarkable for their capacity to project air power far from home shores. Equipped with specialized systems like catapults and landing signal systems to facilitate short takeoffs and landings. Typically, the command centers of these colossal ships are found atop a towering structure. The introduction of the USS Enterprise in 1960 marked a revolutionary step with the advent of nuclear-powered aircraft carriers, eliminating the need for fuel tanks and smokestacks, thus maximizing available space. The designs have continued to evolve, giving rise to variants like light aircraft carriers and helicopter carriers. In modern times, many have transitioned from traditional anti-aircraft artillery to missile systems, enhancing their capabilities significantly. The strategic advantage of possessing an aircraft carrier cannot be overstated. It allows a nation to conduct air operations in proximity to enemy territories without the need for nearby land bases. A single supercarrier can wield enough firepower to challenge the entire air force of some nations. For example, the USS Gerald Ford operates with a crew of over 4,600 personnel, including sailors, pilots, and support staff. Despite their might, aircraft carriers rarely go it alone. They are usually accompanied by an escort fleet, forming a carrier strike group. In contemporary naval warfare, aircraft carriers often serve as command ships within large multinational task forces. Cruiser, a legacy of versatility. Now, let's turn our attention to cruisers, warships steeped in a rich history that predates aircraft carriers. The term cruiser originally described small, nimble ships designed for patrolling and scouting. However, it wasn't until the ironclad era of the late 19th century that cruisers truly came into their own as significant components of naval power. They more than compensated with their speed and firepower. The Washington Naval Treaty of 1922 sought to regulate the size of cruisers at 10,000 tons, yet many nations skirted these limits, leading to the treaty's eventual collapse before World War II. At that time, cruisers shifted roles, with naval aircraft taking over reconnaissance duties and submarines tasked with attacking convoys. In response, cruisers primarily provided surface support for amphibious operations and formed a defensive line against aerial attacks on carrier strike groups. Post-war, many nations phased out cruisers due to the high costs of construction and maintenance, with only the US and Soviet navies retaining significant fleets. The US cruisers transitioned to guided missile systems, with a focus on air defense, while the Soviets armed theirs with long-range anti-ship missiles. The introduction of nuclear propulsion during the Cold War further modernized US cruisers, allowing for greater operational range and endurance. Today's guided missile cruisers typically measure around 180 meters in length, displacing between 7,000 to 10,000 tons, and are manned by crews of about 500. With their advanced capabilities, cruisers remain integral to any naval fleet, albeit in a more limited capacity than in past decades. Destroyer, the backbone of modern naval warfare. Next on our journey through naval vessels is the destroyer, a ship with a storied history and a vital role in contemporary fleets. Initially designed in the 1890s as torpedo boat destroyers, these agile ships were intended to protect battleships from enemy torpedo boats. During World War I, destroyers expanded their missions to include scouting and direct engagements with enemy ships. The pivotal role of destroyers truly blossomed in World War II, where they became essential for convoy protection, anti-aircraft operations, and engaging enemy vessels. With the advent of radar and guided missiles, destroyers transformed into highly capable warships equipped to handle a myriad of threats. Today, modern destroyers are multi-role vessels, armed with surface-to-air missiles, anti-ship missiles, and main guns, often featuring helicopters for anti-submarine warfare. They typically displace around 8,000 tons and can exceed speeds of 30 knots, operating with crews of roughly 300 personnel. The financial commitment required to maintain destroyers is substantial, prompting many navies to consider frigates as a more economical alternative. Frigate, versatile and economical escorts. Frigates, smaller than destroyers, emerged in the 18th century as essential escort vessels. Their modern iterations are adaptable warships capable of engaging in anti-submarine warfare, air defense, and a variety of escort missions. While they may lack the firepower of destroyers, frigates offer versatility that makes them indispensable in many naval operations. Submarine, the silent guardians of the deep. Finally, we arrive at submarines, the only vessels capable of operating below the ocean's surface. Although the concept of submarines dates back to the 18th century, it wasn't until World War I that they became key players in naval warfare, notably through Germany's use of U-boats to disrupt maritime commerce. In World War II, submarines reached new heights of significance, participating in both the Atlantic and Pacific theaters. The introduction of nuclear-powered submarines in the 1960s revolutionized underwater warfare, enabling them to remain submerged for extended periods and launch long-range missiles without surfacing. Today, submarines are classified into three main types: attack submarines, cruise missile submarines, and ballistic missile submarines. Attack submarines focus on stealth and agility, equipped with torpedoes for surface engagements. Cruise missile submarines specialize in long-range strikes, while ballistic missile submarines play a crucial role in nuclear deterrence. Conclusion: the evolution of naval warfare. We've traversed the diverse landscape of modern warships, from the towering aircraft carriers that dominate the seas to the stealthy submarines lurking beneath. Each type of vessel serves a vital role in contemporary naval warfare. As technology continues to evolve, so too will the designs and capabilities of these ships. But their significance in ensuring global security will remain steadfast. Understanding the various types of warships provides valuable insight into how nations project power and safeguard their interests on the high seas.
Thanks for watching.